ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Send Them Off, joined, as always, by Devin Reeder, and on occasion by Tommy Kulkis. We joke, but we really do need you here. That's why we get so mad at you. We really need somebody to talk anything other than Premier League. But, I mean, I say that. We're going to start with the Premier League. As usual, we're going to hop right into it. 2 game weeks to talk about here, as we did have midweek games, which are always exciting and usually something ridiculous happens, and we'll get to that later. But first, the biggest game of the weekend, Liverpool-Chelsea drew 1-1. Impressive result in terms of for Liverpool at least, but it really felt like maybe they deserved more. Devin, do you think Chelsea deserved a point, should I say?
You know, I actually did watch this game all the way through because it was at 12:30, so I was able to get up for it. But, you know, it was, first of all, an impressive showing by Liverpool. There was still some really questionable defending, right?
Oh, yeah, it's Liverpool.
Right. You know, there was a few times where you look at it and you go, pretty sure they don't teach that, but whatever. Overall, very, very good going forward. Liverpool their players looked really, really good. And Chelsea's one goal was the chance of a century. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but looking at the way Willian looked across the box and not at the far corner where the ball ended up, I'm guessing that when he did that, his intention was, let me hook this to the back post, and it just
shanked perfectly.
Yep,
yeah,
shanked perfectly.
And to be fair, if it had gone to the back post, there were 2 people sitting there waiting for it. So it was probably a goal anyway. It's just a lot cooler this way. But, you know.
It looked great, although it did not look intentional.
Yeah. But I would argue Liverpool did actually deserve a win in this. They actually looked pretty impressive. Like, I was thoroughly just entertained, first of all. It was a good game. But Liverpool, the one thing that concerned me watching this game is the amount of ground that their central midfielders had to cover in order to have this sort of high-intensity game was insane. I mean, even the announcers watching the game were commenting on it. Like, Henderson was exhausted.
Everywhere.
But by like the 80th minute, this man looked like he had just died 3 times and come back. Like, I didn't know how he kept running.
What it must feel like to be a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, maybe that's like what it's like to be professional and be that athletic and in shape. But like watching him do it was exhausting on my couch. So it was just really, I don't know. But like I said, I do think Liverpool deserved a win. Like this is we've been talking about this. They've had a bunch of defensive issues, and here there were a few, but none of the major breakdowns that you saw before. And I mean, this is a Chelsea team who, I mean, is 3rd in the table, you know, and they've kind of, since they've gotten Conte back, they've solved some of their problems, you know, that they had, where they kind of had a rough patch, even against Roma and stuff like that in the Champions League. So, yeah, I think Liverpool probably deserved more from this. Maybe Chelsea did enough to deserve a point, but as oxymoronic as that is.
I didn't get the chance to watch the full game. I watched bits and pieces here and there where I could, saw the highlights, as I check out for pretty much every game, especially Premier League. And from what I saw, it really felt like Liverpool should have had 3 points.
Yeah.
From the bits of it I saw, Liverpool felt like they were ahead in the game. They controlled the game, and yes, that goal was kind of brilliant by Willian.
Yeah. It was special.
It was special, one way or another. I don't really think that goal. I don't want to say that goal wasn't deserved, but maybe the result wasn't. I feel like Liverpool, maybe they looked really good going forward, as they pretty much have all season. With the exception of a few games here and there, you look at like the City game and maybe against Man U, but Man U just parked 4 buses on the pitch. Their, like, I guess, team identity has just been attack, go be really good going forward.
Score more than the other team.
Yeah, and your defense will let things slip by, but that's okay because you're scoring. And when you only put up 1 goal against Chelsea, granted Chelsea's really good defensively, so that's not necessarily a bad thing, but when you only put up 1 goal and you have a defense like that, you're giving yourself like
the opportunity.
Yeah, you're giving the opportunity to Chelsea to lose that. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right, wow, he's real quick. He is a La Liga man through and through.
Yeah.
But I know at least myself. For once, Devin actually watched the full Saturday game. But I know you and I, we did not get the chance. We were busy on Saturday.
I will admit that I did not get to watch the Liverpool-Chelsea match. hardly at all. But I will say this about Chelsea. Same problem that they've had at the start of the year, even though they, like Devin said, they did get Conte back. I just feel like they're poorly constructed. They rely too much on the individual brilliance of Eden Hazard, even more so than what you see with
now, granted,
Barcelona
that
and
is
Messi.
a very high level of brilliance.
Yeah, but no, that's true. And the fact that you bring that up, there was many times where Hazard was their single ball carrier. Their goal was to get it to him, and he would carry it 40 yards upfield across the pitch to space. That was what his job was.
And you talk about Henderson being tired. That's, I don't want to say it's just as tiring, but it's probably actually more tiring if you're with the ball because you got to slow down. Now you got to worry about so many things when you're on the ball.
Yeah.
And if you're carrying that ball 40 yards at least, 20 times a game, that'll kill you.
Yeah. So, I think that's a very good observation that is their only outlet. Mm-hmm. So.
Which is kind of upsetting when you think about the quality of some of the other players on the team. But it does feel like most of their qualities maybe midfield to the back. Their front, yes, Morata is really good, but he's not really the
ball carrier.
Yeah, he's not a ball carrier. And I don't see anyone outside Hazard that should really be the ball carrier on that team. Willian's pretty good.
Well,
but
it was really interesting. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but it was really interesting. They didn't start Cesc Fabregas this game. You looked at
it's the first time in a long time.
Yes, you looked at Chelsea's midfield, and Chelsea's midfield was meant to be quick, physically good. Fabregas, as talented and a wonderful player as he is, and just an absolute amazing passer, because when he came in, he actually did change the game with his passing ability. He is not that physical. So it felt like Chelsea tried to play Liverpool style. And
the hit and run.
So for the first 70 minutes or so, before Liverpool tired out and, Conte made some changes in that game, Liverpool had the upper hand because that's what they do, and Chelsea was kind of playing out of their element. It felt like. So, sorry.
I was just gonna say that a player that Chelsea really could have used that was 100% on the market this summer is James Rodriguez. He can play on that right wing, shift into the inside, play as a 10 as well.
And he's been doing pretty good at Bayern.
He has been doing.
He has shown that game time is really what he's needed.
Yes.
Now, that said, he hasn't been 2014 World Cup James, but I don't think we'll ever see that James again because that was just outstanding.
We did see it in 2015,
a little
James,
bit. Not quite as much.
With Real Madrid, but he couldn't stay healthy then either. And he obviously has failed to carve out a career at Real Madrid and is now at Bayern. So.
Well, we're going to continue moving on in Premier League action to the midweek games. Are really interesting. We're going to go to the bottom of the table first, though. Everton 4, West Ham 0, although West Ham is really at the bottom of the table here. Everton has moved back up. Big Sam is coming in, and he was actually at Finch Farm, the training ground for Everton, earlier that day. I think that was Wednesday. Yes. Yeah, that was yesterday. But did not sign in time, did not finalize terms in time to manage Everton, but they came out. Wayne Rooney had a hat trick. How long has it been since somebody said that?
Yeah.
And
we should probably look it up, actually.
They were probably should have. That would have been a good stat. But an outstanding performance from Everton. Yes, West Ham is kind of in shambles at the moment. Yeah. But what do you see going forward for Big Sam now that he is officially the manager as of today, and the squad, which clearly has talent? What do you think the baseline expectation for them is?
You look at this table that we have here, and Everton is in 13th right now, right? They're 10
that
points.
Is correct.
They're 10 points off 6th, right, which gives them a Europa League shot.
Which is where they should have been at the beginning of the year.
Right. They're 10 points off. That's still very attainable for them, I think. We keep talking about this and we go, they spent like $150 million, right? I think this past
I think it was like 130, but it's near that figure.
Maybe it was $150 million, 130 million euros or whatever.
Conversions.
U.S. stuff. Gross. Anyway.
America.
So I feel like this is definitely something that it's still very attainable for them. And it's so weird to me anytime we see this. Like, we see this happen where a manager leaves a club and suddenly the next game everyone shows up, or they hear that they're getting a manager.
Everton hasn't had a manager for a long time.
But they hear they're getting a manager, and suddenly everyone decides that
I got to show I belong here.
They want to play. Yeah. No, you looked at this game, and, the bits and pieces that I could see of it, it looked like everyone on Everton's team, granted, West Ham has problems, and I will probably address those, mainly David Moyes. But
why David Moyes? But that's a whole other conversation.
Everton team kind of like must have in the game or before the game in the locker room looked at each other and went, right, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's
show out for Big Sam.
I don't quite understand what happened. Amazing, great result for Everton, and their fans.
And Rooney's third goal, which was absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, go find it. Rooney first times it from inside his own half, just launches it into the goal. Goalkeeper had come out and was on the ground, still back.
Hey, don't give him the play-by-play if you just tell him to go watch the replay.
But hey, I'm just saying, because if you just say from midfield he blasted it in the net, there's other things at play.
Curiosity.
Yeah. Anyways, do you think that Everton have the potential to? Do you think they can, as Devin said, reach that Europa League spot?
Yeah, I think the bottom line for them should be 10th in the league.
Yeah, I have mid-table basically is where I think they
should be the bottom line for Big Sam. I mean, this team has a ton of potential. They really should be in top 7 year in and year out.
Big problem is Big Sam is a relegation saver.
That's the thing. So I don't know.
Do we just see them coasting? Coasting to the end of the season? We very well could have it happen. Now, for Big Sam and for Everton and their supporters, I hope not.
Yeah.
This team should be doing better than that. I don't think they'll get back to Europa League places because 10 points, yes, we still have a lot. There's, I think 24 games left to play.
I feel like that's a good goal to have, though. Aim for that.
That's where they need to be aiming for that, obviously. But I don't think they'll quite get there. But I realistically see an 8th or 9th place being very attainable, considering when you look that from 9 to 17th on the table is separated by 5 points.
Yeah.
The mid-table is completely up in the air for the rest of the season, really.
Yeah.
Until, maybe when we get 5 games left in the season, it's going to be a lot more cut and dry. You usually have those like pockets where it's like every 4 teams are like 5 points from each other.
Yeah.
But in between those, like those 4 teams are like 1 or 2 points off.
And just a quick shout out, there is a gap. Once you hit even 7th and 8th and 9th, are separated by 7 points, 7 to 9th. Watford is above Leicester in 8th by 4 points, and then it's Tottenham. The 6th place team who has separated themselves from all of these other mid-table teams is Burnley.
Of all teams, Burnley. We thought it was going to be Watford, although it didn't really quite pan out.
Well, credit to Watford and Burnley, first of all. Just credit to both of those teams, whatever. But the question I had for you guys is West Ham going to make it out of this? Because when taking the job, David Moyes was in an interview, and he said, and I can't quote this exactly, but he said something along the lines
I know where you're going with this.
Of, if it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, I'm only in South London for 7 months. What type of mentality is it that when your manager who's supposed to save you from relegation comes in and goes, I mean, like, if they don't make it, I'm gone.
Oh, yeah, if we get relegated, oh, well.
It doesn't matter to me.
Hey, Rafa Benitez is still around. He didn't come in with that attitude. And he should have. He's better than David Moyes.
He's much better than David Moyes.
So,
I mean, to be fair, every Premier League manager is better than David Moyes.
Hope?
Big Sam's better than David Moyes.
Not from a talent perspective in this West Ham team, because you look at this West Ham team, we talked about this before, they shouldn't be here.
They should be with Everton. They are pretty much equal to Everton.
So, but is there a chance for them to get out of this with someone leading them?
There's a chance, but not with David Moyes.
Yeah, that's what he's leading. He's directing them right now.
He's basically managing with a meh philosophy.
And
whatever happens, happens. He's very hands-off. I'll give him that. I guess he's coming in with let the players do their thing, because he's not clearly managing anything.
Clearly not.
But yeah, as you said, it's really surprising to see Burnley this high up the table. Watford this high up the table is, I mean, 8th
Marco Silva
is all right.
No, that's why Watford's so high up the table. It's just Marco Silva.
They're doing. Their players are playing really well. Just in general, I think we could see Burnley actually stay there. Burnley or Watford could easily, I shouldn't say easily, but could definitely be in a Europa League place at the end of the season. I can see that happening.
Ooh, bold. I like it.
But I don't, as far as West Ham, I don't see them getting out of relegation, do you?
Not right now, no.
Especially with David
Moyes. I know you like looking at the managers and tactics behind it. So I was just wondering if you had any knowledge or previous experience with David Moyes that would tell me otherwise.
I mean, he was at Sociedad for what, like 3 months?
Yeah, no, he was a complete disaster in La Liga with a really
Just like
good
Gary
Real
Neville.
Sociedad squad too. So I don't know how he's going to do any better with an inferior West Ham squad. I don't.
All right, you're saying that the
Sociedad is definitely better than West Ham.
now, or when David
Both.
Moyes was there versus
Both.
West Ham now?
Both.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know. West Ham
You're
now is really
underestimating
good.
Sociedad.
I'm just
All
more
right, guys.
overestimating West Ham. Anyways,
we'll get to the La
that's a
Liga
debate later.
Premier League feud.
We'll debate that in the back. Yeah. So another whitewashing, if you will, this weekend. We move up one more from a 4-0 to a 5-0. Arsenal over Huddersfield. Huddersfield just not showing what they did in the beginning of the season. Their first 6 games were outstanding, and since then, they look like a newly promoted team. But Arsenal looked outstanding and has actually really recently. But they play Man U this weekend, which usually we do a preview, but we've got a bit of a cluttered show. But Lacazette is out for them this weekend, so that's big. But he was there this week. They crush Huddersfield. Do you think that Arsenal, who are 12 points back in 4th place, do you think they're still potential title chasers, dark horses, if you will?
I've been going first a lot. Tommy, what's your opinion on this? What you got?
Well,
I want you.
the Premier League first.
No. I just want to switch it up. You're up first, and then I'll come in with my opinion later.
I was gonna say
The show
no.
behind the scenes, on the scenes.
I was gonna say no because City are too far ahead, but more so because Arsenal has way too much uncertainty. Like, for example, I'm not sure if Ozil and Alexis Sanchez will be at the club after January.
That's actually very true.
And if
that's
they're not,
that's
that
something
hurts.
we
Potential
forget. Yeah.
Because I mean, you got clubs
yeah.
like Bayern and Madrid that are both really struggling right now.
These sharks are circling.
Probably gonna go after somebody in this winter. Don't know who. Alexis Sanchez could come up, and I could see him going off to maybe a bigger club.
Yeah.
To be fair, we all thought that during the summer, so who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Especially if you look at Arsenal,
let's play hypotheticals.
do you think they're going to sell in the January window? That's not a good time to sell.
Yeah. Let's play
Especially if you're still
hypotheticals.
chasing.
Well, not even do you think they're going to sell. Well, yeah, that too. But if they don't, what happens? Like, does that change your opinion on where they may finish?
Even if they don't sell, I have a hard time seeing them catching City, just because Man City look like a buzzsaw right now.
Yeah.
I still think that if things have to go wrong for City for anyone else to have a chance, so let's be honest here. Even if Man U beats them in both of the derbies, they're still 2 points back. So Man City's got to drop more points than they have. They have one draw.
They refuse to drop points. The past 3 games, they should have dropped points, and they just don't. They just don't. They absolutely refuse. Raheem Sterling is turned into the greatest game winner of all time in the past month.
Usually when teams
Don't they
win
have, like,
games
3
like
2
that,
ones in
it's
a row?
sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is. It is a sign.
The
I
teams who
agree.
the
As much as it
teams-
irritates
The
me.
teams who win championships are the teams that win the close games that they sometimes don't have any business winning.
Right.
And
Madrid last year in La Liga.
look at Leicester City 2 years ago. How many 1-0 games did they have?
Five in a row. Five in a
Yeah.
row. Actually, at
And
one
right
point.
now,
I know
City
for
has
fact.
what, 3 2-1s in a row or something like that?
Yeah.
These are the games that make champions. We talk about Arsenal, 5-0 over Huddersfield. That's not. Yes, that's great, but that's not going to win you a championship if you turn around and lose.
Yeah. But I was going to speak real quick on Arsenal. It's like, again, this is kind of one of those things. Arsenal, we talk about so many times. They have so much talent, so much going forward, so many technically gifted players with great vision, great passers. They can do so much with the ball if you just give them an opportunity. And that's every single person on the team. So, like, it should be there. Like, the opportunity
Rob
should.
Holding.
Yeah, except for Rob Holding. Whatever. I meant.
Gotta find the one.
Sorry, Rob Holding. Not really. Not just you. I'm
You're
sure
a
there's
solid
others.
center back, Rob
Okay,
Holding. Good
but,
for you.
But, this is funny. You look at, if you watch the highlights, just the highlights, some of their goals, they looked hungry. They got to the ball first, forced a turnover, and then everyone switched on. Every single person switched on. I mean, there was just
They looked ruthless.
And there were moments of brilliance by 4 players in one movement. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Aaron Ramsey would play balls through, and like the Sanchez goal, like great ball by Ramsey, wonderful cross by Ozil, and then Alexis Sanchez hits it on the half volley into the roof of the net. Like, that's just casual.
Casually.
Yeah, just casual. Ozil's other goal, just dink right over the keeper. Great, again, a ball through by Ramsey and just a dink over the keeper. And they make it look so easy. One of their goals was Giroud. Just ticky-tack between, literally everyone on Huddersfield was stationary because you could not even get close to the ball. The pace that they were moving it around.
Well, isn't that kind of what summarized Arsenal over the last decade? Is that they have performances like this, and
then they turn around in games like against Manchester United.
It just frustrates me so much because like watching stuff like that is like Arsenal can produce Champions League level goals sometimes, and like stuff you would see in bigger competitions. Why can't you do? I would watch every single game
all the time.
I would watch every single Arsenal game if I had a choice between that and another game. I'd tune into the Arsenal one every.
If they played like that every single time.
So I'm kind of with Tommy though. I don't think I'm done with my little minor rant on why Arsenal frustrates me. But I agree with Tommy. Like I think Man City is too far ahead. They have looked really good, and then they've just had this capacity to win these games that's just insane. The best start by any Premier League team ever.
Yep.
That
hurts a little, but yes.
Yeah. So I don't think Arsenal can catch them, but I think Arsenal definitely gets back into a Champions League spot this year so far based on this. Of course, there's some bigger games we'll have to see how they do against Man U. But if they can, especially if they can hold on to Ozil and Sanchez, which again is really iffy. But if everything stays exactly as it is right now, we just freeze frame, right?
They're in with a shout.
They're in. Yeah, I think so, for sure.
For me, it really goes down to the fact, what I said earlier, that Man City has to drop points for any team to catch them. And if they start dropping points, Arsenal has a chance, for my opinion. I think they are good enough, and I think we are going to see them actually start to be a little more consistently good. I think that if they can keep performances like that, and if Man U keeps going, maybe that puts a little more pressure on City. Maybe that causes them to drop points themselves. But if City doesn't drop points, obviously it's over.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter for anyone at this point.
Right.
So speaking of that, do you guys think that City are going to end up being invincible and not drop a game?
Oh, invincible.
No, not champions, because right now that's the easy answer.
No, they have to.
Their defense is too poor to.
Yeah, like I mean, You always single out.
I rag on Johnson so much.
You single out these guys. And they don't deserve that. They're professionals too.
No, I don't care. I rag on John Stones.
No. They've got to lose. I mean, like just the part of me that's watched sports for so long. Like any sport, a team loses a game. Like we literally.
You don't think they said that when Arsenal did it though?
That Arsenal team was really well constructed to score and not concede.
Yeah.
So
to be fair,
I feel like Man City is still
Man City's got a plus 35 goal differential.
That's because they score. Yeah, but they don't. They let in goals.
They let in
goals.
Some.
They leak. Yeah.
They leak goals. That's a good way to put it. They leak goals. They don't just like. They don't have floodgates. We've never seen them really have just abomination at the back.
Well, I still think if they would play maybe not right now because most of the top teams I feel like
are out of form.
But towards the later stages of the Champions League, I think when they face an elite attack, you could see a performance a lot like what you saw against Monaco last year and what eventually.
Which was an amazing tie to watch. That was really interesting.
I remember we all watched that at the same time. It was great. It was very entertaining.
What I'm gonna say, I think they're gonna lose as well, and I'm going to make the prediction that maybe not this one, but now that Pogba is back and healthy, if Pogba stays healthy, I feel like Man U can take one away from them. I feel like seeing.
Well, we've got 2 weeks to find out.
Yeah, 2 weeks to find out. 2 weeks away from that. But also, like I said, I don't know. Maybe right now the run of form, especially with Pogba kind of coming back to it. Right now, Man U's best goal scorer is Ashley Young, for at least like in the recent run of games. He has as many league goals just Tuesday as Ronaldo does all year, but.
How does it make you feel? How does that?
But we'll get to the situation.
Why do you think Madrid is 8 points back from the top of the league?
That's true.
I mean,
he's got a point.
Yeah, but I think that if like maybe the later one, I don't know exactly when that is. I don't know that date off the top of my head, but the second derby, I think Man U. I don't want to say they're the best option, but I feel like they could be very dangerous, especially with Pogba healthy. Let's be honest, Man U has looked like a different team with and without Pogba this year.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. But let's go ahead and hit this last Premier League game that we're gonna highlight, so Tommy can like stop frothing at the lips and the mouth and get to La Liga, so we can just kind of move it along. So I got to watch this game as well in class. Don't do it. Don't do it.
The good old thing.
We say.
I watched it in class too. He was sitting next to me. We have the same class. I was watching this in class as well.
We say don't do it, but we continually do it week in, week out. But
hey,
Leicester 2, Tottenham 1.
Oh, there you go.
I was
Tommy
gonna. I was
Kulkis shouting the score line.
I was about to just get to it. That's cool. That's fine.
Well, I mean, I guess.
Yeah. No.
He's paying back.
That's fair.
Earlier.
All right. So, kind of shocking. Not just this result. The fact that Tottenham has slipped all the way to 7th. Again,
Behind Burnley.
Behind Burnley.
Granted, only one point. Yeah. But
Can they
still.
get top 4? Both of you. Either of you.
I'll kick to Tommy first.
I think it depends on Arsenal, and again, it goes back to what that uncertainty we were talking about earlier.
Oh, there's so much writing on this transfer window.
I
as
think
always.
it's increasingly difficult for them to get into the Champions League because they're going to have a fixture congestion when they hit the Champions League games because they are doing really well in the Champions League.
Somehow.
It doesn't make sense to me. Whatever.
To be fair, Dortmund and Real Madrid are not as good as they should be, honestly.
Right, but Tottenham's team is set up really well to play in the Champions League. I will say that.
They play a more Champions League game than most of the top 6 teams in England.
Exactly.
So that helps them because we talked about it before. When we look at how I don't want to say how little success, but especially recently, there has been a lack of success by English teams in Europe, and the fact that the English league is kind of plays differently, plays a lot more physical, hard-nosed, kind of more hit and run, as opposed to more, I don't want to call it delicate, but more
Technical.
technical and skills based play. That kind of hurts the Premier League teams in the European competitions. That's where the game is just meant to be played that way.
Well, I'd say there's a little bit more than just that. It's teams that are able to play more than one style typically go a lot further in the Champions League.
There's a tactic matchup.
Right.
Yeah.
You have teams that have a lot of different personnel that can play a lot of different styles. Like Tottenham, as you know, they can play possession or they can play direct counterattacking, which is kind of the same, kind of pretty similar to Real Madrid. And that's why a lot of people.
Pochettino is a fantastic manager.
That's why a lot of people are comparing
why.
the project that Pochettino has right now to a smaller version of Real Madrid.
A smaller English version.
And not to mention, they just got Eric Lamela back, and he looked impressive. I mean, I even had a tweet about it. It was just it was so great. I mean, the guy hadn't played for over a year, and he got the assist for the 1 goal they scored. And I watched him. I watched
immediately, 3 minutes in.
Yeah, literally stepped on the pitch and immediately had an impact. And watching him, it wasn't just that. It was his skill. It was his off-the-ball movement and timing of his runs. It was crazy to think that someone who hadn't played a competitive match in over a year stepped on and just was just keyed in. It was awesome. But I think that adds another dimension, just as you're talking about.
Total
they can
change
play.
of pace.
Yeah, they can kind of do different formations. They can do different types of play. He can do possession, or he's quick enough to do a counter. He kind of adds a better dimension for them, or another option if someone is struggling, or I just think that's really interesting. I just wanted to point that out.
And speaking of that, as we were watching it in class, again, don't do that, kids. you might remember I said to you they subbed on Lamela for Eriksen, and we were talking about how that seems really dumb. You're 2 goals down. Why are you taking off probably your best player? Mm-hmm. And then Lamela comes right on, gets an assist, and I was like, well, that shut me up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's why Pochettino is the manager, I guess. But
yeah, Pochettino is a great manager.
He's a great manager.
As far as Spurs' top 4 hopes, you said it depends on Arsenal. For me, I'm picking Arsenal to be 3rd now.
Ooh.
And I think that it depends on what Chelsea brings.
Oh.
I honestly have not really liked Chelsea over the past few weeks, and not the personal dislike of Chelsea that has been there for a long time.
I have a grudge.
Well, yeah, but watching them play, they've not been real convincing. We talk about the 1-1 with Liverpool, and yes, that was a really good game from Liverpool, but it also was a lacking game from Chelsea. And I think if they continue to play like this, Tottenham is a good enough team, they're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Tottenham is not going to be 7th. And if they are, well, I'll eat my hat. But
that you're not wearing?
That I'm not wearing. Well, it's the expression.
Scarf?
Anyways.
I don't know.
I'll eat the scarf.
You're going to pull this clip up if
but I'm now screwed for the rest of the
they
show.
finish 7th or lower.
Do it. But, I think they're going to come back. I think they'll jump back over Liverpool. Liverpool's been a little inconsistent, although they're looking a lot better, and Salah's looking like a literal god. But I think this really comes down to Chelsea, and I think Tottenham might outlast them, but I just don't see it. I think they're going to continue to slump for the next couple weeks, especially when they start getting congested fixtures. And I think that by the time they turn around, it might be a little bit too late for top 4. Agreed? disagree? You didn't. I was gonna say you haven't really.
Yeah, no, I haven't really attacked that. I've just been looking at the players and the ways that they've been incorporated into, like, I guess, as components of the teams. But I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I agree with you in the fact that Chelsea has not been convincing. They played Swansea, and they won on a fluke goal. I don't even get started on that.
Here we go.
Yeah, I don't even.
It really was. I agree.
It was
not
a
biased. It really was.
Fluke goal. And that's how you beat the 19th place team in your league? Like, I mean, I love them to death, but they're 19th.
They're not good.
They're not great this year. I'm not even going to say they're not good.
Renato Sanchez passed the ball to the advertisement. That is a thing that literally happened.
That was his most accurate pass.
It was. He hit the logo dead on.
Oh my God. Okay. But my point being, that shouldn't happen if you're as good as you should be for Chelsea, at least. You know, you should win games like that 2-0. But
at least, granted, Chelsea's not a high-flying, high-scoring team, so 2-0 for them is a high-scoring game.
Right, but it should, or at least your goal should be well worth. It's not a fluke, right? Like that's not enough. To their credit, they won the game, so maybe that's all that really matters. They scored
and they parked it.
Maybe that's all that really matters. But I think Liverpool is in contention for the 4th spot. I don't even think it maybe depends on Chelsea. I think Arsenal and Liverpool have looked better and are looking for 3rd and 4th, and Tottenham's got to fight those two for a 3rd or
Tottenham's got to fight everyone.
No, they literally just got to start. They just got to start swinging at these other teams, really. But
they got to treat it like it's a Champions League game. Maybe they'll start winning.
Yeah. All right, Tommy, I think it's time.
All right, it's time for La Liga. So we're gonna kick it to the game, probably in world football this weekend. Valencia, Barcelona.
Number 1 versus number 2 on the table.
Yeah, shockingly to say that. 1-1. Messi had a goal disallowed for just not given is more the appropriate term. Ball goes completely over the line. Long story short, lack of goal line technology. The ref just says it wasn't a goal. Replay, we can watch it all we want. Obviously, we can sit here now and say, yes, it was a goal.
Definitely a goal.
On the field, sometimes you give leniency, but still, the lack of goal line technology is a big thing, and La Liga is the only top 5 European league that doesn't have it yet. That means, yes, even the French league has the goal line decision system.
You always single out these parties. You always single someone out.
Why not? Hey, it's a reminder that some leagues are not as competitive in this.
We're trying to accurately portray all leagues, but continue.
Anyways, so Devin, do you think it's about time they get goal line technology?
I mean, yes. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get it. Like, I kind of like in a sense,
purist.
I kind of enjoy the whole whatever happens mentality. Like, it's part of the game. But then again, like, the game should be like, oh, is that a foul? Stuff like that. That's up to the referee. Not
a goal should not be up to the referee's discretion.
Right. Like, if it crosses the line and it crossed the line without a foul being committed or a handball or something like that, it should be a goal. Like, that's kind of one of those things where you're like, yeah, you can say, oh, it's the uncertainty, but like, it happens so little, and in a game like this where it means so much, and I imagine even Tommy will probably agree with me that it should be instated. I don't know yet. But,
by the way, warning: there's a rant coming.
Yeah, but the fact that he will, I'm hoping he argues with on my side on this one. But this was a goal disallowed for Barcelona, and he's still saying it should be there.
Oh no, no! Believe it or not,
here
Devin,
it goes.
I actually fully agree with you.
Yeah.
Watching La Liga officiating for the last few years has just
here we go.
La Liga in general is just an abomination. I'll say that. The president of the league is an openly stated Real Madrid fan. The head of the refereeing association is an openly stated Barcelona fan. Even if there's no purposeful inherent biases there, you're setting yourself up for all kinds of accusations of it, right?
Yeah.
Right there.
Right.
And if you've ever watched a Spanish referee, I'm sorry, because did you watch the Italy-Sweden game? The second leg?
I did not.
There were probably 5 penalties in that game that were just completely ignored by a Spanish referee. We all could have had a crucial intervention in that game.
Were these like evenly split or were they one-sided?
No, they were evenly split,
Oh,
like
wow.
3-2.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
And I don't know how you missed that many. But then I remember he's a Spanish referee, and I've been seeing it for years. I've been seeing them screw over Real Madrid, Barcelona, all the other teams in the league for years. It's time for change because I'm also in favor of letting the game be just play the game, but that would be under the caveat that you actually had good officiating, which La Liga does not.
I guess that's
so
a fair point.
Yeah.
Need VAR ASAP.
That's the one. That's the one place that we can all argue Premier League is better. Referee.
I will say one thing. People complain about the goal
Bring back
that
Mark
didn't go
Kleinberg.
over, but Barcelona got away with a clear penalty that also
Okay,
could have been solved.
there goes
Here we go.
the even side of
A
the story.
stamp to someone's heel was not even called a penalty. I mean, it just leaves me
Well,
speechless.
Wait. Bring out the stat that you sent us the other day about how many they had called for them and called against them. Go ahead.
Something like
30?
over the last 100 La Liga games, Barcelona has had 33 penalties in favor
And two?
four.
Oh.
Four made no. It might be two against. Pretty shocking, honestly. When you
it doesn't matter
consider-
how good you are.
Yeah.
It can't be a
Right.
32 to 2
Yeah, that's a
like
little much.
ratio.
That's ridiculous.
But
33, whatever.
talking about the officiating in La Liga, I know you showed me something earlier today. Get in class, kids. Pay attention. Anyways, of the same official that disallowed this goal.
Oh,
or
the
didn't
same
allow this goal,
official.
Yeah.
The
Go
same
ahead.
official that disallowed Messi's goal this weekend in La Liga decided to give a penalty to someone who was probably 5 feet away
Yeah,
from the box.
he looked 5 feet out. It was a handball, right?
Handball.
Yeah, handball about 5 feet outside the box, and he calls it a penalty. So I don't know what the situation on that man's job is, but it should not be good.
Shocking stuff. That's just your regular run-of-the-mill La Liga ref right there.
All right, so what's quick?
Wait. No, I just
you want one more
I
thing?
just want quick question for Tommy. So Tommy, now that this 1 and 2 ended in a tie, shouldn't it have, video review, goal line technology, all this other stuff aside?
throw it out
What
there.
happens now? Where is La Liga headed? Who's going to win it? Is Valencia? Can they keep this up?
Honestly, like La Liga, I know there's an 8-point gap between Barcelona and Real Madrid, but it's really pretty deceiving because Barcelona has played awful this year. They've been
Really?
terrible. Yeah, they're playing like Real
from what
Madrid
I've
did
seen, they've not
last
looked
year, where they would
fantastic.
claw out those gritty games and get those
yeah.
points.
You mean
even
the
if they
ones
didn't
that
deserve
win
them.
championships?
Meanwhile, Madrid's conversion rate in La Liga this year is abysmal, and that's why they haven't
it
been
says
able
enough
to.
that Cristiano Ronaldo
Right.
has 2 goals.
It's
in
not
the
just
league this
Ronaldo.
year.
It's
And he
Benzema.
just- and he just
But
got-
that's-
he just
he's
got the second
biggest.
one, though.
Yeah, and he got that this weekend, or was it this week? Anyways,
So-
sometime in the last few days.
Bottom line is Real Madrid gets an El Clasico before Christmas. If they can win, they can cut the lead to 5
And
with
that's
the
very
entire
doable.
second half of La Liga to play.
What happens if they draw?
If they draw, it's still 8
it's still
points.
8.
Yeah. No,
And-
I
I
get
mean,
the
that-
point difference. I mean, like, where does that leave us?
It's-
Obviously, I could do the math.
Real Madrid is, if you're asking me to be objective, Madrid's squad quality is still way ahead of Barcelona, but Barcelona has Messi, so honestly, it's
Messi, who's actually
anybody's
playing
guess.
like Messi instead of
Anybody's
Ronaldo,
guess.
who's playing
Valencia,
like Benzema.
I don't know if they can keep it up. I mean, they're playing really well. They've got some great players. Name to watch out for, Gonzalo Guedes.
Guaita, yeah.
He's on loan from PSG at Valencia, Portuguese. He is going to be a superstar.
How old is he now?
Probably 20.
As I said, I think he was
there you
21
go.
or something like that.
We should do a section where you feature young players that you
Yeah,
scouted
there
out.
we go.
There's
the
one for
Tommy
you.
Scout Corner.
There we
Even
go.
when he's not
I mean,
on.
there are tons of great.
We'll do it
young
next time. He's not
leaguers,
prepared
and-
right now.
Yeah.
Although he probably could be. If we gave him the rest of the show to think about it.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on. We're starting to run a little long here, guys. So we're gonna pick up the pace. We're gonna move on to the Bundesliga for one quick game because Dortmund had a 4-0 lead at halftime, blew it completely 4-4, draw with Schalke in their derby. Is this the best game so far this year?
I can't think
In
of a
pretty
game.
much the top 5 weeks?
I can't think of a better game. No.
I mean, it's not a good game for Dortmund fans, but
no, definitely not for Dortmund
Entertaining
fans.
wise, no. Like there really wasn't. Like okay, so an 8-goal game.
Alone.
We think back the last time, the only 8-goal game I can think of where it wasn't like 7-1 was the 5-3 Monaco Man City game last year.
But that was last year.
But that was last year.
But
Yeah,
that's
this has
what
gotta
I'm.
be the
That's what
best
I'm.
game this year.
Well, technically this year, if we want split
All
hairs.
right.
If we
All
want to,
right.
if we want to
All
split
right.
hairs
All right.
about it, but
This season.
Yeah. But like, obviously, that's
God.
what I'm saying.
This is
It's like,
best game of the
that's
season.
the last one I can remember that is just that, and then for it to be 4-0 down, and a team comes all
The
way
last
back.
time that's happened in a top 5 league was Newcastle coming back from 4-0 down against Arsenal in 2011, with the final goal being scored in stoppage time by Czech Tiote. Rest in peace. But that's clearly shown like spectacular comebacks and stuff that'll happen every season. But the fact that this like particular level of one has not happened in 6 years in 4 leagues.
Yeah.
Like across 5 leagues, should I say, that's ridiculous. And I mean, credit to Schalke. That takes so much poise to be able to stay in a game like that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Aubameyang got sent off, so that
But
didn't help.
I think they had already had 2 or 3 of the goals.
I
at the
think
time.
it was 4-2 at the point.
Yeah.
Yes. So that didn't help at the end, and of course the last goal was in stoppage time, because when you have to come back for 4 goals in the half, usually that last one's coming way
it's
late.
got to.
Yeah, but this presents the question. Dortmund has really underperformed this year, not just in the Champions League where they've been dreadful, but in the Bundesliga as well. Should Dortmund just kind of rebuild, reload? What do you think? I'm going to kick Tommy first.
I'm thinking what Dortmund really needs to do is they need to not necessarily rebuild and reload the entire squad, but I think players like Aubameyang, maybe Royce, just because he can't stay healthy.
Royce
maybe
would go if I was there.
Move those players out and switch your focus to your younger talent. You've already got Pulisic, Weigl on the team. Switch to players like that and really build the squad
Emery
around
Moore, I believe, is still kicking
Right.
around there.
Right.
I don't think he gets that much
no.
game. Or did he move?
He actually did move. He's
Okay,
at a
well, never
smaller
mind.
La Liga club.
Well, hey, good for him because he needs game time. Problem is, he came up at the same time as Pulisic, and they played the same position. That ain't good for you.
That's not good for you. No.
But yeah, I think Dortmund really needs. I think they need to reload in the sense that, like you said, Aubameyang and Royce, they have to go in my opinion. Now, Aubameyang is still performing, but I think you kind of need to change.
I think
the identity of
when
the
he
team.
was starting to talk about how much he wanted to leave
Yeah.
Dortmund for maybe a club like Madrid, I think that kind of
He hasn't been as good this year, so
it kind of opened up a can of worms that
Yeah.
he couldn't close.
Yeah.
And so Aubameyang needs to go in my opinion. Royce needs to go, and I think you need to reload, get a couple more stars because you still need stars if you're going to compete against Bayern essentially. But then, as you said, focusing on the youth talent, maybe not what they currently possess, but buying some more youth, like not youth players,
They've
but
got
buying
plenty
younger
of that.
talent.
They got plenty of that. They need
I
good-
feel like they need some more like mid-level. Like so, instead of getting the 20-year-olds, they need to go out and get some 26-year-olds that are just about to hit their prime.
But that's the thing. The market is not allowing for their budget to do that.
They still have. You sell Royce and Aubameyang, you've got a budget.
That's fair.
You only need to replace one of them, and that's pretty much Aubameyang because
Yeah.
you need a goal scorer.
That's fair.
Pulisic will pop up occasionally. He's not a striker.
Dortmund fans, be patient. You've got a ton of young talent.
They do.
In 5 years, you'll be outstanding.
I give them 2. I give them 2
2?
years. 2 years of slump, and they're back on it.
Do you agree that about at least with Royce and Aubameyang being the key people that do you think they need to leave or do you think they need to keep them around? Mostly
I
Royce
think-
has just been unhealthy and that's just a waste of
I
space
think-
and money.
I think what tends to happen is you look at a sport such as soccer or football, everywhere else.
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, this is not This is not basketball where you can have one star and he runs it.
Yeah.
Right.
LeBron.
So I feel I feel like for Dortmund, Aubameyang has become their talisman, but he is not the same quality as a Cristiano Ronaldo or a Lionel Messi. Like he is not that good.
I'm also not sure
Or
he's fully
Hazard.
committed to the team.
Yeah,
He's clearly not.
yeah. So I mean, there's questions of
not
that,
even a
but I feel
question.
like ignoring, like even if he was pouring his heart and soul into everything, I don't know if he is the type of player that can be that sort of talisman where they are going to need.
They need
Yeah.
They need Lewandowski back.
They actually no. I swear, if they actually got him back, I think that might solve some of their problems. Like
That would
not even
solve
I
probably
mean,
90%
yeah.
of their problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet
But-
Bayern would have 90% more problems.
Yeah, no. So I think I agree with that. I think that they need to get rid of those because they've become really reliant on Aubameyang to do all goal scoring.
Pretty much.
Like all the goal scoring is
Their
supposed
game
to
plan
be
pretty
through-
much is Pulisic,
Yeah.
get the ball to Aubameyang any way you can.
Yeah.
Weigl, try not to let goals go by.
Yeah.
And he's not even their goalkeeper. And they also need a new goalkeeper. I'm sorry.
That's also it too. But we'll leave that alone. That can
Get
they
Timo
gotta solve
Horn.
some- Yeah. But yeah, and then Royce. I mean, we look at when Royce is healthy, amazing player. I mean, there's a reason he's so well liked and people like to watch him play. He just
There's
can't
a reason
stay,
why we're still talking about him when
Yeah.
he's injured.
Yeah, like he just can't stay healthy, and maybe a switch is good for him. Maybe he should go to another club, and maybe that switch changes some of the style of play. He doesn't get injured as much. Maybe he goes to a bigger team or a different team where he is not expected to perform at Olympian level, or he's for them when he gets healthy, he steps on the pitch and they're like, go win us everything.
They're
Win
literally get the
everything
ball
you
to
can think of.
Royce. It becomes screw you Pulisic, screw you Aubameyang. You'll be there to get the rebound. Royce, do it.
That's not good for a player mentally who's
That's
just
why
come
he
back
gets
from
hurt.
a bunch of injuries, or physically when he's on the ball that much, he's going to take hard tackles. He's going to be injured.
It's like going back to Hazard. I'm surprised Hazard hasn't gotten injured more than he has.
Yeah. So I think for both the players and Dortmund, they probably need to let those two go and kind of build a better team.
I think it's a mutual breakup
Yeah.
that needs to occur to
And
make both
they can
better-
get money
both
for
parties
both of
better
them.
off.
Specifically,
Mutual
Aubameyang can get
breakup.
a lot of money.
This is like a really weird beginning to a rom-com.
All right, we're getting long as usual here, so we're gonna go on to the quick fire. We're gonna make it real quick. I have stats for these, but I'm gonna just not even bother with them. MLS expansion, we've covered it frequently, and the opinion on this panel is not very great, but they've narrowed down the final 4 teams for the next 2 slots, although they are eyeing 2 more after that. But these teams will be announced next month sometime, and they will come in beginning at 2020. Right now, those 4 are Detroit, Cincinnati, Nashville, and Sacramento. Boys, who do you think should be the 2 that they go with?
I mean, personally, only one name really pops out from these 4, and that's Nashville. I don't know if either of you paid attention to the Predators run in hockey. That just shows you how much that
Support.
city will get behind a team. And personally, going to Predators games and Titans games as a kid, I can I had
You go.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
I
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, I can vouch for them. I mean, they show out even if it's like a noon game against a nobody. They'll show out. Great fan base, really passionate about sports. I would love for Nashville to get a team.
All right. Well, that's a first-hand experience.
That-
We can't argue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nashville was going to be one of my teams just simply because I am familiar with what the fan base did for the
Yeah.
Predators in
Right.
their run. Like, just what I mean, you could even
And also what
anytime
they've done
they had
just
a-
for this bid.
Yeah, anytime that they like had a home game, you'd watch if you watched the hockey game, you could feel the energy through the TV.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. Outside of that, I don't really want to place one in Sacramento. And I don't know what the soccer market is like in Detroit or Cincinnati, but I don't know. if
Detroit,
it's
the
not
biggest.
good in Detroit.
The biggest problem right now with but they are the long shot here.
Yeah.
But
I
they're-
would probably end up going Cincinnati and Nashville.
Their
Nashville
biggest
for
problem.
Sure.
Detroit's biggest problem is they're the only one that said that they're just going to use Ford Field. And the rest, like, we're going to build a soccer-specific stadium. And why, if you're the MLS, would you want to be like, yeah, let's play in a 15-year-old dome?
Yeah, no,
Don't.
So therefore,
flat, but still.
Cincinnati and Nashville. Those are my two.
Cincinnati and Sacramento are kind of similar to me,
Yeah.
where they both have great followings in the
NASL.
in the ASL, or NASL.
Yeah, NASL. Or the
But
USL. I
the
don't know.
USL, whatever the second tier.
Whatever
of-
it is.
It's
US
actually
soccer
split off.
is-
It's
They're both
split,
like,
that's
they're
why it's
both,
confusing,
They're both
yeah.
the second tier.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I mean, they both have good support groups. The only thing that worries me with Cincinnati is we've already had one team from Ohio fail in a town that's relatively close to the same size, right? Cincinnati and Columbus.
Columbus is like one of the best MLS atmospheres.
Right,
if you
but-
talk about teams showing out, like
But the reason they are relocating to Austin is because
potentially.
of failed support with the fans. I mean, they average one of the lowest per game
But
attendances.
yet their U.S. men's national team, like, show out is the
Very
best.
true, very true.
It is the best.
It's peculiar for sure. I'd have to check more
Yeah.
information on that. But
For me, at least, I had such a hard time debating between like Cincinnati and Nashville. But for me, I think Sacramento should go in. They're the lone West team here. You got to try to balance it out. Also, Sacramento, outside of other than Detroit, is the largest market here, so you got to think about that in terms of the MLS. And they have the most stadium ready. They are literally just waiting to break down on their stadium, break ground on their stadium. So that is a big factor. Cincinnati doesn't really have a stadium yet, but especially since it is likely Columbus moves to Austin. I went with Cincinnati over Nashville and Sacramento. I think Cincinnati, Nashville, Sacramento, those three will be in of the next 4 teams because, again, it's highly likely they pick another 2 next year if they come in the year after. So I think between Cincinnati and Nashville, for me at least, whichever one doesn't get it is probably in the next run. That said, after these 2, should they continue?
No, they need to restructure. If they're going to add more teams, well, they shouldn't add more teams.
That would bring them up to 28, right? Yeah. This is 20.
You can't.
This is 25 to 26.
There's 24. There's 24 in the lowest tier, and I think the next in the championship of the English.
Yeah, in the championship, League 1 and 2. Beyond that, we're not going to get real nitty gritty with it. In England is 24. And that's 46 games?
Yeah, because you play each team twice.
Now, granted, they don't do that in MLS, but that's still way too many teams.
Yeah, and I think it'd be just better. I mean, we've talked
There's
about
also...
They should just restructure relegation.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand why so many MLS fans are opposed to promotion and relegation the way that some are.
Because they're Americans, Tommy.
I don't understand.
Because they want the conferences and the playoffs and stuff.
You can still have playoffs while keeping promotion and relegation.
Playoffs. It would be nice to have a promotion playoff, or do. I
or
really
a relegation playoff, the Bundesliga.
Yeah, I really like what the Bundesliga does, where the third place team in the 2 Bundesliga and the top one that's about to be relegated to, I guess, 16th in that league. They have a playoff between each other. So the team that was the closest to getting promoted without, basically, gets to play the team that can basically give themselves a chance. You have 1 game to save yourself.
You want to talk about well-run leagues, Bundesliga.
It really is. Just like the German national team, it's a well-oiled machine.
Of course it is.
But yeah, without
dang Germans.
They need to promotion relegation is the ideal system for, I believe, any soccer fan for the American. I completely lost our own nationality system, but now you beg the question: do you have it NASL and the USL being each one basically sends their champion up, or do you have to push those aside and make the NASL and the USL one on top of the other? Because then what league's going to want to drop below another league that they're currently equal with?
I have no idea, but I feel like that's probably a conversation for another.
That's probably why we haven't had it. But we're going to move on to our last segment, and something we've been doing recently, our underappreciated player of the week, but not necessarily based on this week's performances. We usually have a little caveat this week it's most underappreciated player in the Premier League. Devin, who you got?
Mark Albright.
I mean, we've discussed this before, so I knew that was coming. But
they were aware of it. But the point is, obviously, to highlight players that no one would normally think about, and I feel like he definitely falls into that category.
I mean, from what I saw watching the game against Tottenham, that's probably the first Liverpool game I've watched a lot of, Leicester game I've watched a lot of this year, and he looked fantastic.
I mean, like, he supplies service, he gets up and down
fantastic
defensively,
something I
great at ground crossing for some odd ground crossing. Works hard. Like, he actually has better vision than people often credit him for. He can kind of spray the ball out across the field if he needs to. He can kind of work himself out of some trouble. And like I said, he defends. So I feel like he's a very hardworking player who is definitely fits in this category. He's underappreciated. Like, no one talks about him, but he is very, very good. And he does a lot of things good for Leicester. And I feel like he's one of those guys.
It's one of the reasons Leicester have been successful over the past few seasons.
Right, it's one of those guys where no one highlights it because he's not Jamie Vardy, he's not Riyad Mahrez, right? He was
not Conte when
when he was there.
Applicable,
but if he left, you would.
Danny Simpson. Sorry.
Yeah, when he left, or if he left, then everyone would notice. Everyone would go, "What happened? What's going wrong?" You'd be like, "Oh, well, you lost one of your hardest working players." So
people would notice if he's gone, but when he's there, no one notices. I know this isn't really your league, but. You got anyone in with a shout?
Fernandinho leads the league in passes. Everybody talks more about De Bruyne, Sterling, Silva, all those other guys in City, but
he's a man who's
underappreciated
in that squad, but everywhere else,
probably the most underappreciated player in that squad that should be receiving so much praise. I mean, like I said,
and he's not just passing; he's exceptional defensively as well. That's
Right.
part of the reason why they haven't shipped as many goals as they probably should have, because their back line, if it's above average. Let's be honest. It's probably of the top 6. It's probably 5th with Liverpool behind them. Like,
if something was going to go wrong for Man City, it would probably have to be Fernandinho getting hurt or going out of form, because I don't see a single possible replacement on their roster for Fernandinho that can do the
remember
same
when they used to have
things that he
Fernando
does.
as well?
Yeah.
Fernando and Fernandinho. That's not confusing at all. For me, I'm gonna highlight. I'm gonna come up with a few names here though, but there's a main one. Goalkeepers in the Premier League, I feel like, are all really good, and sometimes that gets overlooked because we only think about the De Geas, the Llorises, and whatnot. So you could throw more names here, but Fabianski's, even Lossell, that's his name, I think, from Huddersfield, has been really good. I'm going to highlight Schmeichel. We're also going with a Leicester player here. That man is 3rd in the Premier League this year in saves and sweeper clearances. So where some of the other keepers lack, like, Lloris and Ederson are the 2 worst in saves, but they have the 2 more sweeper clearances because they come out more. Schmeichel's doing it both. Usually, like, I looked at the stats for that, and that it's pretty much flips. You know, if you're saving, you have a lot of shots against you. You're saving. That's good. Like, Fabianski's by and far the most saves, but he's got a lot of shots. Every time I watch, like, the highlights or something for that from a Leicester game, I see Schmeichel making 3 or 4 amazing saves. And whenever I watch Leicester play, granted, it's not that often. They're kind of hard to catch their games, but Schmeichel's making not just a good number of saves, he's making a number of good saves. And I think that just in general, Premier League goalkeepers may get overlooked when they're not the major ones we think about. But I think Schmeichel is like the cream of the crop for that. In my opinion, he's actually probably in the top 5 keepers in the Premier League.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
He's his daddy's son, really.
Yeah. And
He saved a penalty at Old Trafford before his dad did.
No one gives him credit for it either. This is the saddest
Yeah, because
part.
he's honestly living in the shadow of his father, let's be honest. But that's where we're going to end the show today, guys. Thank you, Tommy, for joining us.
Pleasure.
Pleasurable.
Devin, pleasure as always. That's it for now. See you later.